Hi guys, good evening. Am I audible?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Can you all switch on your camera?
Wait.
Yeah. Everybody. Rudra, Bhargavi, Nirja, Riya, also. Yeah. All right. Riya, could you please switch on your camera? All right. So, hi guys. So usually we'll have a weekly policy discussion, but however, because of the conference and everything, okay, sorry for the disturbance. There's a construction work that's going on in the background. So usually we have a weekly policy discussion, but however, for the past 2 weeks, we were very busy with the conference and everything. So that's the reason why we couldn't have the discussion. But however, today, the whole idea of us having this discussion is to identify those policy issues that you personally feel that you have to work on. Like this is something that you can identify the area where you want to focus on. And first, we will discuss what your policy issue is for like around 2 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes each. Followed by, we will discuss about various policy solutions because just by identifying the problem, our work doesn't end there. We are policy enthusiasts, so we aspire to be policy makers. So that case, we should be able to come up with policy solutions as well. So for now, we'll focus on issues that you want to focus. It can be anything, like right from I didn't want to focus on education because that's something we'll be working on from here on. So I thought there will be a lot of other issues that you guys may want to discuss upon. So you guys can start. Anybody who wants to go first, please go ahead.
Can I go first?
Go.
Am I audible?
You're not audible.
Am I audible now?
Can others hear her?
Am I audible now?
Can you speak now?
I am I audible?
Okay. Does anybody else wants to go? By the time, can you figure out the issue? You can log out and log in again. Something if that helps. Yeah. Anybody else can.
Yeah, can I go?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so hi everyone. I am Rudra. Okay, so you guys must have seen me for the first time. So sorry for the what can I say, not participating in the meets and all. But yeah, so I have actually first of all, I would like to start with how I came across this policy problem. So it's actually related to education only. It's related to Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. While I was analyzing it, as we had this assignment in my college where our professors asked us to take any policy of their choice and to make a report of it, but he made it compulsory for us to go on ground and analyze at least 3 to 4 places. And he literally asked us for some photos and videos as a proof that did we really go there and analyzed it. So while I was studying Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and I was identifying the problems which it had, I came across a very new, I guess, a problem which I have not seen people talk about much. And also, my mother is also a teacher in a government school in Mumbai. So we also had a pretty long discussion about it. She didn't say it out loud, but I understood it because I think the problem which I figured out is workload management of teachers other than study, other than teaching. So if we go in government schools, all the management and all the work which they have to do, apart from teaching students, is to manage all the funds and all, take care of the cleanliness, manage toilets, manage funds, take permissions. So when I visited these three schools, there I found that I actually talked with the head of school in Pune Municipal Corporation. So she was really talking out loud about this problem that I have to manage everything apart from teaching students. So there was lack of manpower with her, and there were many problems. So I believe that this is the major problem which I have observed, and I have also seen my mother working for elections. So she have to take leave from school, and she goes for election work. She has to go to each and every house to check whether these people exist according to the voting card. And if they are not, then they have to she have to find where they go, where they have went. So she have to ask in the neighbor and all. So I believe that this is not the work which has to be given to the teachers, and they only need to focus on how teaching. So I have kind of figured out this problem, and I have tried to find that if anyone has observed this or talked about it, but I didn't find much information about it. So I believe this is the problem that we need to work on.
Thank you, Rudra. I feel the same because the sheer amount of administrative work that the teachers have always been given responsible for, be it elections, be it census, for everything, it is the teachers who are being deputed for all those things. So definitely it impacts their teaching and everything in the school also. The work that they have to do in school is getting the problem there. So absolutely agree. And I feel you were not able to get all these details is mainly because it's something that is based on your observation. You have gone to these schools, you've seen it yourself, and you have personal experience. Your mother is sharing her experience with you. So I think that's mainly, so we need to interact with more people like this, and only then we'll understand the grassroots level, what are the various problems that are there. Really agreed with you. Anybody else who wants to go next?
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so the policy that I wanted to discuss upon is RTI, right to education, right to information. So the issues that I feel, or the challenges that I feel in this particular policy and act, are that there is a huge backlog and delay in disposal of cases. One of the reasons the RTI Act was considered to be revolutionary was that a response has to be provided in a fixed time, failing which the government official concerned would be penalized. However, this time bound nature of the Act suffers due to a lot of reasons, like insufficient number of information commissioners or poor quality. Inaccurate information, incomplete information. The act doesn't provide any limit within which the second appeal to Chief Information Commission must be heard. So then there is dilution of the law. So in 2019, the central government gave all the power to fix the terms and the service conditions of the RTI Act, both at the central and state level. So this has hampered the autonomy of Central Information Commission, and there are a lot of other challenges as well, like secrecy and enforceability issue. But I feel that the way forward is by having an open data policy wherein there is more disclosable information on the respective websites, and by this the petitioners may immediately have access to whatever information they need. This will also reduce the burden of the department to provide information which takes much of its valuable time. Then I feel preventing that there has been a lot of misuse of the RTI. So preventing misuse is one other very obvious solution that I feel should be implemented. And then balancing with privacy right. So a lot of the policies that I see right now have a lot of intrusion in the privacy of the citizens. So this can be done by the launch of awareness campaigns through multiple mass media platforms like radio, television, print, internet, uh, and in various languages in rural areas. So this should also be included in school college curriculum. And yeah, it should also have sufficient funding to do so in order to receive aid and ignite the whole process of clearance. This is what I feel should be done. So yes.
I guess Bhargavi has already covered the policy solutions part also. But yeah, in terms of the issues that I highlighted with RTI, yes, in 2019, I think the act was diluted, and before they had the tenure and the salary that of chief election commissioner. But however, now it is entirely at the discretion of the central government. And like another major issue is, of course, misuse. It is like it's just 10 rupees for one RTI, and every person usually without even going through the government websites where to check if the data is available or not, they just file RTI, and obviously it leads to burden on the human resource. Like at the end of the day, it's wastage of human resource. That's one. But of course, there is no proactive disclosure of information, as you said. There is no proactive government themselves have to come forward and disclose the information. That way people can avoid. Right now, I think there is this new initiative. I don't remember the name exactly, but there is a website of government that they've launched wherein it contains data of all the ministries under one umbrella website. Like there's this one website under which every data is available, whichever ministry it is. So it's a good initiative. That way it's easily available and accessible. Of course, there's a lot of data that's being restricted, citing a national interest or like something that's secrecy and everything. And that to a certain extent, it increases secrecy, and like the government will function in a very secret way, and people the whole idea of democracy may fail. But of course, it's a very good initiative, because of which there have been a lot of issues that has come out. That is also there. But of course, the policy solutions that you gave is very nice, but you could have kept it in the end. But of course, the solutions are really good. Next, who wants to go?
Can I? So my topic is basically related to education as well, but regarding like private schools. I feel like there's a lack of policy there. You know what I mean? Like private institutions only care about their profit, minimizing their cost, and they really like they're not paying attention to students. Like I think most of us who have gone to private school can relate to this. Like the teachers don't get paid well, hence what they do not teach well in class. Instead they take tuitions outside the school, and like students don't get time. Like it's like a manufacturing factory. All these private schools are like manufacturing factory, and there is no intervention. Like no one is doing anything about it. So my solution to the is the PTA is like a PTA, like the Parents Teacher Association, is the model from the American school. The American education has this, where the parents are involved. Like it's like a government's order. Like the parents need to be involved. They have the national PTA organization, and I think it's time that India should get into for the private schools at least. Like that's a start. Like where parents should actually talk to teachers and see what's up. Like what the students either like whether the students are like doing anything. The school study programs, like like sorry, I'm confused. Uh, wait. So like the parents should like get involved like with the teachers to come up with better education programs, so that the students get like at least like given the what's the status of the world and what kind of education they need. Many of the times the syllabus are not even updated. Like we are in ISC board, like my board, we have been reading the syllabus for the past 20 years. Like that does not make sense. And this is something that's coming from me personally and from other people I know who went to like reputed private schools, that in what they do is they literally skip class 11 syllabus and they go to class 12 syllabus. What is the target of the institution? Is that they want to show like, oh look, our board's examination result is the best, we are creating the best like students, we are producing the best students. But this affects the students more, because class 11 syllabus is very much important for joint NEET, all these exams, and students are struggling a lot for this. So that's my take.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Of course, I feel the curriculum itself is like sometimes most of the curriculum is outdated. Like sometimes we really don't need that. We need new things that has to be updated again and again, of course. And the burden, like that children have to go, like either it's first they finish the school, then they go for tuitions, then some additional skill enhancement, whatever, dance, music, everything.
But It's like everyone thinks that it's a private school, so they have better infrastructure, so they are, the education is really good quality, but there's a dark
The
side to private schools.
mental health of the
Yeah, yeah,
child is
yeah,
also very important. Of
yeah.
course, definitely. And something we need to take concrete measures that way, wherein
Hmm.
we channelize, okay, this has to be done, this has to be done, instead of just like, I feel it's more like depends on how parents also consider their children. Like
Hmm.
they have their aspirations that sometimes they want to achieve to their children. So that is also a major issue. School, of
Hmm.
course, is contributing in the form of curriculum and everything, but in the household also, like we need to bring in more awareness and everything.
Hmm.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
Hi. So I would like to discuss something about the healthcare system that I have noticed. A friend of mine studies in Maulana Azad Medical College, which is like the best college, one of the best colleges in India. It's only ranked second after AIMS Delhi. So I've visited that number of times, and I've observed a lot of problems. And I would keep it very brief. And the problems that I have observed are. Uh, that the institution, the administration is not respecting poor people's time at all, because it takes at least 2 hours to even get yourself registered for the OPD. And then there's such severe shortage of doctors that even to see that, and then after getting yourself registered for the OPD, then you have to wait outside your doctor's office for at least 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours even, and sometimes even the doctor leaves after 2 hours, because obviously he or she has other duties to perform. And even after all of the hassle, there's such large amount of paperwork in order to avail the facilities that the government has provided. On the one hand, the government tells us that, oh, they're doing this and then doing that, but on the reality, on the ground, there's so much paperwork that makes it impossible for people to actually avail those facilities. And we have to keep in mind that availing facilities for our healthcare, it's not the same as availing privileges for maybe something else. It's not even the same as getting education. Healthcare is because you are in such a vulnerable state. People come there with such diseases. They cannot breathe, they cannot move, they cannot walk, and they come from such a poor strata of the society. They cannot afford to invest so much time. There's so many. I've observed. When I sit there. Uh, when I sit there and observe people, I thought that most of them look like daily wage laborers, and they have the amount of, if they're earning 200 rupees per day, they use that to eat food at the end of the day. I mean, if they're not able to earn that much amount of money just to see the doctor, then I mean, how are they going to even eat at the end of the day? So these are all problems that I think we really need to focus. If we are giving facilities, if we are giving benefits, if we are giving policies to poor people, then we need to really see if they are being efficiently being provided to them on the ground. It's not just about writing it. I think this is what I've observed.
Thank you,
Can I
Drishti.
speak earlier?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
So like what she said, what Drishti said, it's so right. I mean, I agree with all their views. All of them, though they've spoken, they've come with really good and common things. But what Drishti said, it's so common. And even though this problem is not addressed, we have many health schemes, health sector projects coming up in India every year. Like we had a few, consider the Matrupurna scheme or any schemes, like for each sector of the society, we've got schemes coming up. But none of these schemes can be actually, implemented to the best of their envision level, unless the basic system, like the basic healthcare, like the what do you say, the most common access is our general hospitals for the poor people. So unless people can actually, they feel comfortable going there, none of the other health schemes are going to work out. And that's I was saying, like I agree with what Drishti said. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I think what Drishti said is something that we've all witnessed. Any person who's visited a government hospital would have definitely seen this image. And I think one of the major problems is also because of the doctor to patient ratio that we have, especially and most of the government doctors do not prefer to work there. They want to go to private hospitals, which they pay, obviously, they get paid more. And of course, it is the poor people who at the end of the day go and visit these hospitals, and they're actually at their mercy. Like the doctors, they wait for them hours on end just to get their appointment and things. Definitely. But I think that is also because we do not have recruitments of doctors that's regularly taking place. Like I think recruitment happens 3 years once, 4 years once. So that there itself, there is a lot of human resources gap that's there. And of course, a shortage of resources and everything. So I think Drishti, you've highlighted a very major problem that's there. I think most of us have witnessed in one form or the other. Thank you so much. Who wants to go next?
Can I?
Yeah, Rhea, go ahead.
Yeah. So, like today, the issue which I would like to talk about is the digital divide that our country and the entire world is currently facing. So, like, what is digital divide? Before knowing that, we should know what is digital literacy. So, like, first of all, digital literacy is the ability to access the digital means to make your life better. So, like, I was having a conversation with a marketing consultant today. Like he said, do you know what is marketing? And then he was telling me, how do you market that? How do you add value to people's life? But I was like, do you know what is development? So he was like, first of all, I got no response from him. So, like, for me, development is seeing something which no one else sees, because everyone is running behind profits. Even if we take marketing business, anything, everyone is running behind profits. But like for development, it is like something which, like, I very really feel passionate about, is because we have to see things which are not really visible to many of us. So like we can see a digital divide between rural India and urban India, and within urban India as well, we can see a digital divide between people of different classes. So like that is something which is really problematic, because like I heard in a TED talk once, like imagine a person working in a mine for his entire life, and now the mine is closed and he has to move to a city, and he has no job to do because he does not know how to access a computer. So like that is something which is very serious. And along with that, like I came up with a few policy solutions, because I think this digital literacy problem is very general, we all know that what it is. So like I attended an MSCIT course when like I was in 10th grade or something, and like all they taught us was using Microsoft Word, using PowerPoint presentation, and using a few more word Microsoft applications. So like I thought we don't really need it, but like the people in the rural areas and all, they really need it. So like I think these courses should be like shifted to more rural sites, so that poor people can access it, and they should be provided at an affordable rate. And like one more problem is the problem of connectivity that we face in the rural areas. So like the real reason behind the lack of connectivity is like the companies are not able to provide enough infrastructure, because they don't earn proper profits there, because the number of users are going to be very less even if they provide the infrastructure there. So like their profit gets hampered. So like that is the reason why we don't have good quality Wi-Fi or good quality internet services in the rural areas. So like what we can do is, there are many public libraries in the rural areas. Like they are known as Gram Panchayat libraries. Nearly 70,000 villages have these kinds of libraries. So like what we can do is, like no one reads the books there even. So like we can provide some computer facilities and a good quality Wi-Fi, and we can like really spend on that. So like that will really help to like create the library like a digital learning center. And then we can provide this MSCIT kind of courses there. So like the rural people get the basic idea of how to use a computer and how to access, like how to get an access to the digital world. In this way I feel that like that in this way I feel that they can even access the policies and services which are provided by the government in a better way, because we know that everything is moving online nowadays. Like even you have to register for your voters card online, passport online, everything online. So yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you so much, Ria, for identifying the difference between growth and development in the first place, wherein development includes welfare also, definitely. And other than that, of course, the growing digital divide that's there, that's also a very major problem that's come, especially with the advent of COVID. The problem has aggravated a lot. And just a second, 1 second. Yeah, so sorry. So other than that, of course, the digital divide that's currently there, and of course, right from public distribution system, they say that you need like the one two machines, like there are these POS machines that's there, and then they can just swipe the card and they can get their ration. But at the end of the day, there is no internet access there. Or in the Anganwadis in India, like under PM Poshan, like they are supposed to update the details in a particular app. But however, there is no internet itself. So you give them technology without like actual infrastructure, there is no use of it. So definitely the digital divide, digital literacy is something that is very, very, very important. And of course, the point that Ria highlighted about the various computer classes that we have attended in school, we may find, okay, this is very basic. Why do we even need a class there?
Yeah,
But
like that is totally for getting just a certificate, because we all know that already. So like
exactly,
that's no point. Like we can provide it to someone else who really needs it.
exactly. And of course, like, but then people in rural area, really, that's a very important thing for them. Even using Word document or Excel sheet is the basic skills. And now I think even for getting a job, we need to have basic computer knowledge. Like that's the bare minimum. And like nobody even specifies it, like, nobody even mentions it specifically because it's an obvious thing. Okay, you should know the basic computer skills. Of course, thank you so much, Shreya. Anybody else who wants to go next?
Can I go next?
Yes, you can.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I prepared a little comprehensive discussion, so bear with me, I'll run you through. So, do you know that an average American produces almost 8 times more municipal solid waste than an average Indian? And do you know that an average European produces far more electronic waste than an average Indian? And do you know that an average Indian also uses fewer plastic materials than an average Westerner? Still, the West looks shiny, and on the other hand, many Indian streets look dirty. This is obviously because they have tried to master mechanized approach to cleaning and behavioral tendencies of citizens towards cleanliness. So to say that there is a need for Indian administration to learn from European countries and adapt that kind of mechanization, but is our administration willing to bring such paradigm shift that our country needs so desperately? Like, do we dare? So, see, there are 7 types of waste. And while there do exist statutory directions about handling and treatment of those wastes, there is, and that can be found under Environmental Protection Act 1986. But there are headlines like the World Bank study revealed India as the largest, world's highest waste generating nation. Another headline read India ranked 12th in mismanaging plastic waste. India ranked 186th out of 180 countries in waste management. So we realize that our policies, they still have a long way from being implemented effectively on the ground. And so waste is a huge problem, and we might not be able to address all the views emerging from different types of waste. So let's focus on municipal solid waste. Now, we live in cities and we consume more than our rural counterparts. We contribute to waste, but what we do is avoid segregation of waste. Right, so that is what leads to choked drains and dirty neighborhoods around us. So, but the twist is that even after segregation and collection, there's still a big possibility of the collected waste being disposed on unattended landfills. Or it's likely to happen that it's not efficiently processed. So the remnants, only remnants should end up in landfills. And even out of those remnants, we can make useful products, but that does not happen because we are quite inefficient at it. Now, this issue concerns the Central Pollution Control Board, and there is a report which puts forward a suggestive time-targeted action plan for management of municipal solid waste at many levels. Now, this is interesting because state plan suggests each state to assess the local situation and see if the local bodies are prepared to treat the waste. Then it addresses the financial incentives and like penal provisions for the local bodies. And it asks the state to follow a hierarchy, which is that first of all, you focus on waste prevention or minimization. Then the second stage is to focus on waste utilization. For instance, or for example, setting up of material recovery facility which segregates and recovers valuable matters. For instance, we put furniture in the waste that can still be utilized. So that material recovery facility, it will retain it and make it slightly usable so that anyone in need can use it, if not us. Then waste recycling is what it tends to focus on, waste processing, and then waste to energy. Now, last comes the landfilling. It also suggests something about city or town level action plan, um, which is which basically focuses on decentralization of disposing or waste management facilities, which makes the process quite effective. Now, this all seems like India still has to funnel like a lot of money, tons of budget in infrastructure and model which takes waste management seriously. But once we solve this, we have a clean India for ourselves and for our tourism industry, which brings us a lot of incentives. It can also help us uh, save more in public healthcare. Those city floods which happen in monsoons all the time because our drains are not prepared to face the heavy rains. Then new jobs can be created. A new concept of circular economy has come up and it talks about reusing the resources. So all the resources that are ending up in landfills or waste, they can still be treated and used back like in the economy. So that can help create jobs. Many startups are already working in that direction. Now, India should not follow the unethical Western trend of dumping the waste on poorer countries. That's not what we should do. We should make the waste an opportunity for ourselves. And my policy solutions for this would be obviously, first of all, promotion of circular economy model in our economy, then decentralization of waste facilities or like waste management and waste disposal facilities. Then I would wish if every local body enforces provisions like fines. We might have fines even now, but I don't think like many a times we just step out and put our waste on the streets or roads and we are not fined for it. We just get away just fine. So I think there's stricter laws and regulations that we need so that the public, the citizen behavior changes. Our behavioral tendencies are still not that, mannered up, and waste is everyone's problem. So I suggest that all the stakeholders, which is urban local bodies or non-governmental organizations, startups, and public and private institutions, resident welfare associations, these all come on board. Like there is some provision which makes us come on board together, and we get interlinked and we work together and benefit from this waste revival or waste management like this crisis. We work on it together and make it an opportunity for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Neecha. And I really like the fact that you explained it first. You took up the international aspects and then you came down to the urban local bodies, the structure which you explained the whole thing was really good. And of course, I really agree with the idea of how like America or European countries are generating way too much of waste than India. But however, the burden of climate change is being shared equally among all countries. That doesn't make sense actually. But of course, that's how it is. And also, another major important thing that you highlighted was about the waste disposal and how the urban local bodies need to decentralize it further. Like right now, the sanitation, waste management, everything comes under urban local bodies. However, there are a lot of issues. One is the landfills, but of course, landfills has become a nightmare now because that has started polluting this underground water. Like it started seeping into the soil and everything. So that's creating too much of problem also. And of course, electronic waste is something that we really need to focus upon because the rate at which electronic waste are being generated currently is way higher. So for that, we need to find an adequate solution for the same. And of course, you brought in brilliant points about the Municipal Waste Act and everything. Thank you so much, Neha. Anybody who wants to go next? Guys, please switch on your cameras. Like, just because your chance is over, you cannot switch off. Like, there are people, others also who are speaking, so you have to respect them. So kindly switch on your cameras. Riya, Rudra, Bhargavi, Suhana. Yeah. Who wants to go next? I think Suhana has not completed yet. Suhana, are you there? Suhana?
Yes, Arya, I'm here only. Just give me 2 minutes.
Sure. Is there anybody else who has not completed yet? Bhargavi is done, Rudra is done, Priya is done, Krishti. Sure. All of you are done, right? All right. Suhana, can you please make it fast? Only you're there remaining. Then we can move to the solutions discussion. All right. Do any of you want to discuss about the solution part?
Yes, Arya, I'm here. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah. So please, once you log in, please make sure you're here. Do not move.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, sure. Actually, I was stuck somewhere. So
yeah.
I
Please
would
switch
like
on your
to,
camera, Suhana.
sure.
Yeah.
I would like to address the problem of the growing dollar actually against the Indian rupee. So recently, we have seen that USA is facing inflation, and that is the other part. But uh, I would like to address that the US dollar has grown so much against the rupee that now it is equal to $1 near to 80 rupees. Okay, so first of all, I used to think that the money factor, the currency factor is not of greater importance, because with it comes both the advantages and disadvantages. If our value of the rupee decreases, so our exports will increase, and vice versa. If the value of like our rupee increases, so our imports will increase. So either way, like we'll gain. But the situation now has worsened, like in case of exports also, for a country like India that is so far behind many other developed countries, especially USA. I think the decreasing value of rupee is not a very good way for us to go, and the problems with that will come, uh, only the problems will increase, I think. Okay, so I would like to address those problems. First of all, I think the reason behind this thing is that our economy is not growing because people of our country are moving to other countries and making money over there. Then there is outsourcing and many other things. So with this, the like we are pictured as the labor country, where people will be available for very lower prices, to work for us. And we'll get cheap labor from India, and they'll work for us. And so yeah. So but the thing is ki, what if the people of our country are working for us only, and our economy is growing? I know many scholars who are right now in foreign countries and making their big name, in working in different sectors, especially in IT, which is like, it is an overgrowing sector. It will always grow, like it has a capacity like that. So the problem is that people over here are studying, and mostly now, the tradition is even reversed regarding education also. Now the people think that education there is much better than education over here.
not only in prospects of getting money from foreign, but also, now they think that education there is also better than India. But still, if we think this generation wise, that people are studying here and they're going there because they get better money, and people will go to work for someone where they'll get more money or more, a better standard of living. So the problems, according to this concept, becomes that India is not providing much employment, and if it is, then it is not as competitive compared to the foreign countries. For if if India would have provided enough, so people would not have migrated to other countries and all for that. So I think the issues can be resolved if government uh, think of this thing, because like they can provide better employment opportunities and better pay, and also because a lot of potential is there, but it is not being put into use. Like students, why do students feel that they need to go outside and make money, and why not here? Like, I for myself can say that maybe if I go and educate somewhere else, or take my degree from somewhere else, but I'll still come back to India because I want to work for my country. My economy should grow. I have uh, a, a vision like this. It can be that I may not make that much money, but I have a thing that I should be a little factor in making India grow. So I think that government should address this problem, that why people are migrating somewhere else, and why are they happy with their own place in India, that because it is obvious that they are going outside, they are making money, and economies are growing over there, but not here. So this is, and my policy suggestion would be, first of all, that employment opportunities, I think they're only good for the caste based system. Like, people still the quota system exists, and to be honest, many people who deserve much better are deprived of their opportunity, because of this quota system. I have seen many people like that, and I feel that this is not the way to go if we want to grow in a long run manner. And so this, and I had one more suggestion in my mind, but I forgot it. So yeah, till now this much only.
Can I
Thank you.
say something?
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Suhana suggested the increase of like salary. Government should pay more for a country like ours, where it's like we have cheap labor, and hence like all the companies are investing in our country. It is not possible to increase the salary, because if we increase salary, more like most of us will get unemployed, because in China and Africa is providing labor for far cheaper cost. So that's not possible. And the quota system is another topic. Like, our country is at a state where we cannot get rid of the quota system until and unless we actually like address the caste problem properly. So unless that exists, we cannot get rid of the quota system, because if we do get rid of the quota system, poverty will increase.
Quota system is a completely different debate, because at the end of the day, we provide reservation not as a poverty alleviation scheme, it's an affirmative action. So that cannot be just done away with. Like, any person who knows Indian society, we know why reservation is there in place. It is definitely not a poverty alleviation scheme. Just because somebody is rich doesn't mean that reservation can be just done away with. There is a specific reason as to why it was introduced, right? So that's a different debate altogether. I mean, people can be for and against it. That's something very personal. So let's not divert from the topic. Coming back to the points that Suhana made, one is balance of payment issue. Another is the brain drain that's currently there. Of course, balance of payment, it includes everything: import, export, remittances, everything. And that's a very major thing. And of course, we are always having balance of payment deficit. We do not have surplus, especially in terms of US dollars. because of course our currency, the value of our currency is way lesser than the dollar. That's one. And brain drain is another major issue, but that's also mainly because in India we do not have sufficient infrastructure in place. Like for example, for a person who studied, like then infrastructure and salary, like people go to other countries because the kind of, as Shruti rightly pointed out, we cannot afford to provide so much of salary that US can provide because we do not have that kind. And of course, India is always considered to be a place where cheap labor is available because that's the main reason why our service sector grew so much. Otherwise, our service sector couldn't have grown. The service sector is able to contribute a major portion of GDP is only because we are providing cheap labor, right? So that's of course. Yeah, Shruti, you want to add something?
Yeah, like you were saying that we lack infrastructure. Like right now is the age of artificial intelligence. We all know that, right? My interest, like I do want to do some research in artificial intelligence related to finance and all. So I was looking for places like where universities are conducting like PhD. There is enough funding. India does not have anything related to artificial intelligence. Like my only option is America, London, and Germany. So this is something like we do lack infrastructure. Our labs, like the even IITs, only introduced recently like a PGD course in artificial intelligence, and I think IIT Madras introduced a bachelor degree for artificial intelligence. So you can see like the difference between developed countries and ours. Like we do lack like infrastructure very badly.
That is also because we cannot completely shift to capital intensive technology. Like we need labor intensive technology, and only then we can provide employment, because we have a lot of unskilled labor, so that we need to tap that unskilled labor and provide them with adequate skills, provide them with adequate training, and we have to make use of the human resources that we have. But of course, thank you, Suhana, for bringing in a lot of points. But of course, those are major debates that we can have, like even the appreciation of a dollar and how it impacts the Indian economy is also something that is debatable, because it has got good impact and bad impact. It can, like, export and import, it is advantages and disadvantages for India, so that's something that is debatable. But however, thank you so much for bringing those points. So now moving on. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Ann. And I guess you're not audible. Yeah. Others can hear her? And your voice is not audible. And hello. I think she has some network issues. Yeah, I think I'm not able to hear her. So moving on. Yeah.
Sorry, I just forgot who was speaking, but yeah. What she said, the syllabus. I mean, okay.
I think we lost her completely. All right. So now moving on. Is there any solutions that you guys want to address? Like besides whatever you've told for your point, is there any general policy solutions? For example, like my suggestion would be to increase overall efficiency in the government. Something around those lines. Very general policy solutions that you guys want to come up with.
Yeah, I'd like to add something. Yeah, so like we discussed about the waste management thing, right? So like a few days back, I was not few days back, just today itself, I was taking interviews of a few people relating environmental issues. So like I asked them, do you know what is done with your waste once it's collected? And literally no one knew what happens to their waste after it is collected. So like that was something which is very shocking, because like we don't know, even if we are segregating the waste and giving degradable, biodegradable things separately, but still we don't know what exactly is happening with it. So like we should take that into consideration and hold people accountable for that.
Definitely. Actually, yeah, that's a very valid point. In the sense, we do not, I think most of us do not know what happens to the waste unless like you go and specifically you take interest and you go there, down there, and then know what's happening there. Unless until you will never know. Somebody comes in front of your house, they collect the waste and they go. That's it. Like it just comes in. And as you said, people do not even segregate. Like in Bangalore here, they specifically mentioned that they will impose fine if the waste is not segregated. But people don't care. I mean, they just like dump it there. And of course, people who are coming to collect waste also, they are not equipped so much, in the sense they are not provided those trucks that has got clear division of the different types of waste. Everything, even if people segregate and give them the waste, they're being dumped into the same big van. That's everything is dumped on the same thing. So the whole point of waste segregation is in vain when something like this happens. So we need to focus on the small aspects also in order to make a successful policy implementation. Agreed. Anybody else wants to add? And were you just a second? And were you did you want to add some point? We lost you in between.
Yeah, I had some network issues. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to add something to what Suhana had said, like the syllabus. Like even now, what we study in our school is just theory. It's not gonna help us anytime in our near future. I mean, when maybe like some ages later, when you're teaching someone else, okay, then you might be like, I studied that, but now it's of no use. So updation of syllabus is one of a major point that our education system has to do. Another one is, like you said, brain drain. That's a very serious issue. I mean, just look at some of the top countries in the top companies in the world, any field. Like almost like 75% of companies has got some Indian at the head. So that shows like the Indians, like the other countries value India for their brains, not just for the cheap labor, for their brains. But they do not want us to realize it so that like we don't grow. I mean, when you think about it, it's a basic thing what the British did to India when they were ruling over us. They did not want us to realize our own potential, so they downtrod us. Even now, kind of like, we don't think out of the box. We're still like waiting for someone to show us like we can do that. So I think it's again like our mindsets have to change.
I think that's something that we have been internalized to believe that, okay, I mean, that's from the time of, course, the British reference, definitely. From the time of British, we've always been considered as a place where we just manufacture things. That's it. Like, we are just, that's all it is, nothing more than that. But right now, we know, okay, we not just manufacture, we need to earn profit also. That's exactly why we have been like lagging behind so much. But definitely, we need to change our mindset and perceptions of what India is. I understand there's a lot of spirit of nationalism that's going on here. I think Drishti, you want to add something?
I think if you said about general policy solutions, I think if I hear that, I can only think about corruption, because I mean, if we do anything, if we do about waste management, if we do about education, healthcare, or growing the economy digitally, or anything, I mean, if there is corruption in our system, we basically can't do anything about anything. So I guess we really need to address the problem of corruption, and I think that it can only be done through more about maybe accountability from our ministers, from the whole administrative, the institutions, the authorities. So I guess there has to be a more accountable, more transparency in the system, and a general sense of justice, and a general sense of goodness in everyone. I think that those virtues need to develop in the society to really remove corruption from the system.
Corruption, of course, corruption is something I feel it's just there in every walk of life. In the sense, corruption just doesn't mean taking money. It just means misuse of one's authority. Like maybe you just leave your office 1 hour early or something. That also amounts to corruption, because basically you're misusing your power and authority that's being given to you. And I think corruption, we just cannot blame the elected representatives or those in power. We can blame ourselves. Because at the end of the day, you need to get your work done sooner. Like, for example, if a specific work takes around, say, 4 days, but you want it within 2 days because of the urgency that we have. So what we do, we end up giving them money. So the problem lies both the ways. The person who takes the bribe and person who gives it also. So it's very easy for us to just blame the people in power that, okay, they take bribe. No, like we also give them bribe. Or a policeman, if a traffic police catches us, if he has to give us with a challan, maybe 500 rupees you have to pay. Without challan, 100 rupees. So without challan, it goes to his pocket. But for us also, we are trying to save that 400 rupees. So the blame is on us also. So of course, corruption is something I feel like that just cannot be done away with, because that's there in us. We have been born into it. So it's very hard. Of course, the major corruptions, we can bring in laws, but the small things that we do in our everyday life is something that we have to take in conscious effort to reduce it.
Can I say something? Yeah. I think I've heard this from some article, like like how digitalization of like money. I think that's something that can save. Like if we give cash as bribe, there is no trace of that money. But if we like start like if government takes digitalization seriously, then I think there will be like where's the money going? Like imagine a person giving the toll officer 200 through GPay. Like that's very suspicious. So that's something like I know this because I was doing some research over some monetary policy in Asia, and the what in South Korean government, they have the digitalization of money. What happens like if there's a crime, they check the bank statement, like whether there was any money transfer or not, because they are not that adapt, like they don't use cash that much. So digitalization is the best way to stop this bribe and all this little bribe situation, toll officer, and sometimes police even catch random young people just for the bribe. Oh, you people are hanging out your WhatsApp. Call your parents. So yeah.
Yeah, that is of course digital India, like payment, everything can be tracked and everything. But of course, uh again, traffic police catching somebody is again misuse of one's authority. And like in Bangalore, we had like strict order from DGP that they cannot check randomly somebody's WhatsApp message. Like there were issues where here, if two people in the night, if they walk, police people can come and check their WhatsApp messages and check for like words like drugs and everything just to catch people. So those are like blatant misuse of power. You cannot do that. And then now, of course, recently there have been strict orders that people cannot, because it's infringing into one's privacy at the end of the day, looking into WhatsApp chats. So of course there are major initiatives or measures that have been taken, but there are a lot of things that just go unnoticed. That's something that we really need to work on.
Or also like the citizen, we really don't know what kind of power we have. Like we don't know about the laws or anything. Like the police can catch us and keep us, I think, for 48 hours at the station, but that's it. They cannot force an adult for anything. Like they cannot ask us or force us to call our parents or do anything. But that's the thing, the citizens don't know about their rights. We really have no idea.
Exactly. So I think on that note, we can say that we citizens should be more aware. We need to fight for our rights, because at the end of the day, we know what our rights are, but we're not taking action there. You know for a fact, as Shruti said, like more than 48 hours, you're not supposed to be arrested. But do we take like because of the fear, we generally don't take any action. We're like, okay, fine, they're policy, you can't do anything. Or even for that matter, even the waste disposal, or if you see something is really going wrong somewhere, we should step up and we should come forward and tell, okay, hey, you cannot do this, or hey, like this is not the right thing to do. And there are, for example, a lot of times we just see a person randomly throwing garbage on the road. We see it with our eyes, but we choose not to respond to it, because either that's your neighbor with whom you do not want to have any sort of conflict, or you feel like, okay, let me just not interfere in that. But those are the small steps where we can take initiatives. Of course, we are people as policy enthusiasts. We have knowledge. We know things, what it is and what it is, what shouldn't be there, and we should take steps and we should do more research. We should come up with various policy solutions. We have identified a lot of issues right now. From the discussion, I believe all of us got to know a lot of policy issues that we hadn't thought of. That's something that we see right in front of our eyes on a daily basis, but we have not noticed it. So those are various policy issues that we have identified. Such this policy discussions wherein help us to exchange our views and ideas. Wherein Suhana brought a point where most of us disagreed on one point or the other. So but it helped us gain more knowledge. So I think citizens, we need to use our power. We need to have regular policy discussions. We need to engage ourselves in productive discussions like these, and research more, come up with various policy solutions. I have only one suggestion. Anytime you identify issue, immediately start thinking about what is the solution that we can come up with, because that's what makes us different from a layman, because that's what we are being trained for. We need to identify the issues and we need to come up with policy solutions, because issue identification is a very easy thing to do. It just happens there, you see that, okay, this is an issue, that's it. But when you start thinking and that's when you start researching, you go through various research articles and you think for the various solutions that's available, or something that has already been experimented. What are some of the best practices that we can adopt? So these are some things that we can work upon. But I feel today's discussion was really productive. Like all of us have gained a little knowledge, at least something new and something useful. So yeah, anybody wants to add anything, or we can wind up the session. That's it.
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I believe that from everyone's discussion, I have come to a conclusion that mindset and attitude of citizens matters a lot. Okay, so if I have actually watched an interview of one of the sharks from Shark Tank, which Shark Tank India. So he actually said that he prefers cheap labor over skilled labor. So he said that I prefer putting my industries outside India because the efficiency of the work that they do is brilliant. Uh, because see, they if they work for 8 hours, they will do it very perfectly. Okay, out here in 8 hours, actually we need 1 hour of break, 2 hours of tea break, and etc. So this chalta hai attitude and kar lenge yaar, ye India hai. This sab chalta hai. This needs to change. Okay, so if you go in Europe, you need even if you have to pee, you need €2. So it doesn't come cheap. Okay, but people are so used to getting things free, and see, I agree to that, and some people do need it, but this things that they get in free or free of cost, I think they are somewhere, what can I say, destroying the mindset of citizens that यार कुछ भी करेंगे तो मिल जाता है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. I think, yeah, this needs to change.
Yeah, but I have a difference of opinion there because we are a welfare state. Like we cannot we cannot just get like done away with, okay, we cannot give anything for free. But we are a welfare state. At the end of the day, we will have to provide things for free, at least to a certain section of population, because that's absolutely necessary. We have to take into consideration the poor and the rich equally. So of course, you highlight a very important point. There is misuse of resources that's being provided, definitely, but we cannot be like, okay, we do not want these free, something for free is not something that we can in India. That's not feasible and possible, of course. Then anybody else wants to add something?
I just wanted to ask something from you. I just wanted to know about this, the overall structure of the internship. Like, how is it going to go for 2 months? Because right now I feel like, I mean, I just want to know like in what way we are, in what direction are we working? So I think that's how I'm be able to work better.
Sure. So actually, we were supposed to have a meeting in the initial week itself, but as I said, the conference, there was a lot of delay. So moving on the structure of how it is going to be, at the last 15 days, you'll be working on the policy brief. That is, I will be giving you a policy problem and you will work on that policy problem. And you're supposed to come up with a proper presentation. For week one, like the last week, I think week 7, you will come up with a policy summary in a written format in a Word document. And the last week, you will present your policy solutions, for which I will explain to you. There are a lot of 8 steps that you have to follow that I'll explain to you eventually. Before that, what we'll be doing is step by step, I will be giving you assignment for each week. For example, 1 week would be you going through various research papers to identify a particular policy problem that I would give you. That way, like there are a lot of people who have not come from research background. So what happens is they're not really aware of how to go about research papers. Reading research papers maybe for the first time, because in the previous batch, I knew for a fact that there were a lot of people who worked on research paper for the first time. They did not know what APA style of referencing is. And I'm pretty sure in this batch also there will be people who will not know what APA style of referencing is, because not everybody is exposed to the research thing. So what I will be doing is, like, that is one example that I gave you. And next one would be, this week's task would be for you to go through different data sets that's being released by the government and then write an article based on those data sets that you refer to. Because that way you get exposed to data. Because for the policy briefs that you're going to submit at the end of this internship, that is week 7 and week 8, you need these data. You need to go to refer all these research articles to come up with best practices that's being followed in other countries, or to come up with various policy solutions. And you also need to be aware of what are the government websites that's available wherein you can reach out to data. So there's not something like, one day I'll tell you, we come up with a policy brief, you can come up with this policy brief is something very hard to come up with. You need to have concrete understanding of what goes behind that, like the data collection, the research orientation, everything. So that's why step by step, every week I'll be giving you assignments towards the policy. At the end of the day, the whole idea of this internship is to make you guys to come up with a policy brief. That is the whole idea of this internship. For 2 months, that towards that you'll be working, but in a step-by-step manner. And of course, every week we'll be having policy discussions, because I genuinely feel this increases all our knowledge, and this would be a platform for people to come up and speak. Because in the last batch, I had like these people who actually told that they had a lot of stage fear, and this was a platform where everybody had to speak, because I make sure each one of you all here speak, no matter Even if it's a very simple opinion, it matters here. So I genuinely feel that increases your knowledge. So weekly policy discussions is a must, and attendance, of course, is mandatory. And those people who are regularly absent, I would be informing to SIR, and SIR would take necessary action against them. But other than that, assignments, please do submit on time, because there were people who did not join the Google Classroom at all. And when I saw that, I was like, I had to sit and count the number of people, and then suddenly I could see 3 people missing there. So please make sure you guys submit assignments on time, because that's very important. And I would be giving your feedbacks also within 1 or 2 days. Anne and I would be sitting and working on that. Like just yesterday I was free, so I couldn't get to it. But usually by the next assignment, you would get your feedback. This assignment, I think, will take another 2 or 3 days. But otherwise, this is the basic overall structure that we're going to have. And from next meet onwards, I want one of you all to take the minutes of the meeting. That way, by chance, if somebody misses due to health conditions or somewhere emergency, they have to go out. And definitely they can just refer to it. But otherwise, please do not inform me 30 minutes prior to the meeting saying that, ma'am, I will not be able to join the discussion. Please do not do that, because that's very bad. Because when we inform you prior that, because I know you also would be having other responsibilities. So when we are informing you prior, I expect the same thing from you guys, that unless and until it's a very big emergency that, okay, just now I realized I have to go. Okay, fine. Understand. Fair enough. Everybody will have, including me. There will be times when sudden emergency just comes up. But generally, make sure if you cannot attend, it's not possible for everybody to attend all discussion. But if you cannot attend, please make sure you're informed that on the group itself, because personal chats, there is a very high chance that I may just I will lose track of it. So please put it on the group, because that way SIR will also know whoever is coming, how many people are coming, how many people are not coming. Otherwise, again, I have to tell him personally. So if by chance you're not coming, please put it on the group. Okay, works. Unless and until if it's something very personal, of course, you can text me personally or call me personally. And guys, if you have any doubt with the assignments or anything, anytime I'm available. By chance, if I don't pick the call, please call me again, because sometimes phone will be in silent, or I'll be in college or something. So yeah, other than that, that's it from my side. Any doubts, anything, any clarification you need? Am I clear? Good to go? So see you all next week with the next policy discussion. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Arya.